Now, the East Africa Business Council Summit for 2026 started today in Nairobi. Government officials in charge of trade and investment, business leaders and development partners are in attendance as the region examines the success of their previous resolutions of the EABC to deepen trade and investment and open up more opportunities within and outside the region. Now, let's hear from some of the regional partners at the summit.
Nairobi is the only city in the world with a national park within its boundaries, offering breathtaking views of wildlife against the backdrop of skyscrapers. We meet at a time of overlapping shocks: pressure on the rules-based international system, rising tariffs and protectionism, economic fragility and debt distress, disrupted supply chains, geopolitical conflicts, and of course, accelerated climate crisis. These pressures do not respect borders. The East Africa community, like every region, is feeling the impact. Yet, even though multilateralism is under strain, our only way out is regional integration. This remains our only practical route to resilience and shared prosperity. As such, we must use it to mitigate against these underlying challenges. The East Africa community plays a vital role to translate commitments into implementation. As such, Your Excellency, with your leadership, we want to continue keeping track of these policies and commitments that we make and track them to results. Over the next 2 days, our deliberations should yield clear, implementable recommendations. We must be open to critical and honest about the core issues shaping inter-Africa ESC trade and investments. In particular, we have this shared goal of 40% by 2030 of intra-ESC trade to be achieved. Question marks are around the progress, evidence towards achieving these goals. Also, there's a challenge around accelerating value addition and the value chains so as to industrialize our economies to create decent jobs. We have this elephant in the room, the existing non-tariff barriers. We have to stop creating new ones as we try to dismantle the existing non-tariff barriers. We also have to eliminate discriminatory fiscal regimes and harmonize domestic taxes so that we create a predictable and competitive market. And finally, reduce the cost of doing business, close the implementation gap, and strengthen the political will to deliver on agreed ESC commitments. To be candid, integration is not a story, it's about implementation and the discipline towards this implementation. For each day that NTB persists, for every day that border processes are unpredictable, and every time policy reversals are done without consultation, it means two things: that we are taxing our people more, and then we are turning our investors away from us. Benjamin Franklin reminded us, well done is better than well said. And in that spirit, the East Africa Business Council is rebuilding and resetting itself so as to be more member-driven, more data-led, and more accountable to follow through and results. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, this third edition of the East Africa Business and Investment Summit builds on the resolutions of the second summit that was held in Kampala, Uganda in September 2023. I am pleased to report that those resolutions were mainstreamed into ESC policy decision-making organs and are being monitored by the ESC Sectoral Council on Trade, Industry, Finance, and Investments. As a region, let us open a new chapter. Let's move beyond raw material exports and invest in value addition. Let's shift from unnecessary competition and embrace smart collaboration and make it easier to move business people, goods, services, and capital across our borders. Let us match our ambition with bold investments in digital and physical infrastructure, in green solutions that lower trade costs and build resilience. As Nelson Mandela said, it always seems impossible until it is done.
The East African region remains one of the most dynamic and promising economic blocs on the continent. With a combined population of over 300 million people and a combined GDP of 350 billion, the ESC offers immense opportunities for investment in manufacturing, investment in agriculture, services, renewable energy, digital trade, tourism, logistics, and infrastructure development. each and every member state have unique comparative advantages. So there is a school of thought that we're actually competing with each other. I think actually we are complementing each other and not competing with each other. And I'll highlight a few country-specific comparative advantages. For Kenya, for example, it's a regional hub for financial services, ICT innovation, industrial manufacturing and logistics. Tanzania, a member state, is rich in natural resources with the opportunity in energy, the blue economy, tourism, and transport infrastructure. If you look at Uganda, it's strong in agro-processing, manufacturing, emerging oil and gas sectors with the renewable energy potential. Rwanda, it's a leader in ease of doing business, digital transformation, tourism, maize, and light manufacturing. Burundi, opportunity in agro-processing, coffee, tea, grains, hydropower, mining, and cross-border trade. South Sudan, investment opportunities here, of course, potential in reconstruction, oil infrastructure, and trade logistics. Somalia, growing opportunity in trade, port development, livestock, and regional market integration. And of course, the DRC, our newest member, vast mineral reserves, cobalt, copper, coltan, gold, with the prospect in agriculture and hydropower. Together, these opportunities define East Africa that is open, ambitious, and ready for business. However, as we calibrate the progress achieved, we must also acknowledge the remaining reforms, priorities necessary to fully unlock the integration potential. The private sector continues to navigate non-tariff barriers, infrastructure bottlenecks, frequent changes in tax regimes, unauthorized product standards, and limitations to the free movement of workers and people. Addressing these challenges presents a strong opportunity to lower the cost of doing business, enhance regional competitiveness, and strengthen the tax policy predictability to boost investor confidence. Through coordinated policy reform, regulatory harmonization, and sustainable political commitment to the full implementation of the EAC commitments, the region can translate its integration agenda into a tangible economic gains for business and citizens alike. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at the private sector, at the regional private sector, we continue to champion bold policy advocacy to make East African Community the leading trade and investment hub in Africa. Our key priorities include full implementation of the EAC Common Market Protocol to ensure free movement of goods, services, labor, and capital, accelerating harmonization of standards, taxation regimes, investment codes among the partner states. 3, enhancing digital trade, e-certificate systems, paperless customs to reduce clearance and time and costs. 4, promoting cross-border infrastructure connectivity from ports to energy corridors that support regional value chains. And lastly, strengthening public-private dialogue mechanisms to ensure that business realities inform policy actions. EABC stands ready to work closely with the EAC Secretariat, partner state governments, and our developmental partners to remove the bottlenecks and deepen integration.
What can I say? When I was invited to this meeting, I thought about all the various meetings we've held over the last few months with the business community. And just thinking about the cry that we have had from the business community, it's a tale of two cities, or a tale of two sides, two coins. On the one side, we are seeing an East Africa that is growing against the odds. We are seeing the East Africa region really growing and expanding. We've seen the trade volumes grow, especially imports and inflows coming in through the port of Mombasa. But we are hearing a lot of uncertainty. And I've had these various discussions with the Deputy SG and with the SG, Annette. The cry from the private sector. In the last year, we've talked to the private sector in Ghana, in Cote d'Ivoire, in Kenya, in Uganda, in Tanzania, and the story is the same. It is uncertain. We have the protocols in place, we have the AFCFTA, we have the Customs Union, we have the Common Market Protocol, but what we are hearing and what we are seeing is, can we make it predictable and Saturn. And that's where I want to focus my rallying call this morning. We are seeing a huge pushback and a fallback on NTBs. And I know everyone has talked about NTBs, but I want to dig down because I believe that's the rallying cry we need. With all the shifts that are happening around us, unless we become competitive, unless we shift and go back to where it was easier to trade with each other and to move goods and services across borders, we are not going to make it through this difficult time. And that's not their words, that is the reality. We have the numbers now. If you look from Somalia to Burundi, from DRC to Kenya, and all in between Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, we have a huge market. We have the potential. All the basics are there. The protocols are there. The potential is there. We have even done studies. The trade potential between East Africa and Southern Africa, we are talking about $1.9 billion annually, if only we removed the barriers. And sitting amongst us, I see so many traders, so many business people. I mean, just, you've been one of the champions of the garment industry in East Africa. But how long will the business community continue to stand and face the pains of NTBs? Behind the headlines, what are we seeing? We are looking at a lot of diversion. We are looking at a lot of trade volumes going down. Anytime you read a headline on goods stopped at the border of Busia, goods held up at Namanga, this is sugar, this is grain, this is milk, this is poultry, this is rice. Every time we are stopping these goods from moving, it's not only impacting trade volumes, trade values, but also livelihoods, because this is what is feeding the region and the community. So we need to go behind the barriers, rather the headlines, and look at what is impacting East African trade and why these barriers are growing. In the last year alone, we have seen a resurgence of especially politically motivated barriers. And I know it's a tough tension for the political leaders, Madam Minister. On one side, you'll get the lobbying group saying, my poultry industry needs to be protected. But on the other side, you're saying we're part of the integration. And unfortunately, the voices of protectionism are winning. And so we are seeing all these barriers coming up across the region. As Trademark Africa, we have supported the region over the years with our partners, of course, the EU and so many others. We've supported the region with the one-stop borders, and I'm glad to say that we are working with the East African community, and Kenya is a leading member in this, on moving towards one-stop borders. As I speak now, smart gates are being installed at Mombasa, they're being installed at Busia, they're being installed at Malaba to allow frictionless movement of goods. So East Africa, again, is leading in Africa in introducing innovation from one-stop borders to no-stop borders. It's becoming a reality. And we really want to thank the EAC for this leadership. That means at least 30% of the cargo that is coming in, say, from on the northern corridor, will hopefully move through the borders to South Sudan, to Rwanda, to Uganda, all landlocked countries that really need these goods to move in time.